But as we go down lower towards the water, the temperature should get higher. See, now it's 32 degrees, 35 degrees right here. See, this is a nice little warm pocket here. Remember, too, when you start on the hard settings like we're doing, you don't have any protection from your suit. If we had, like, even a light armor suit on, that would give us some protection from the elements, but we don't have that. We're just in our clothes, basically. That demonstrates how significant staying down low actually is in terms of staying warm. Welcome back, everybody, to Empyrion Galactic Survival on Alpha 12. Actually, 12.0.1 now. I just had an update this morning. I'm an old guy gaming, and we are going to start a new adventure here in the new Alpha for Empyrion on vanilla this time. That is significant because I didn't play vanilla at all during Alpha 11. I was on Project Eden the whole entire time. But we have some significant changes here to Alpha 12, and so I want to go get in and check them out. So let's just talk really quickly about those changes in case there's a couple of you watching who aren't really familiar with them. Most of you probably are, so I'm not going to spend a long time on them. But some of the major changes, I got the web page up over on my other screen here. Galaxy, we now have a galaxy instead of just a single solar system. So it says there's thousands of star systems that you can go to, and each one of those star systems is just like the old single star system that we've all been playing with all along here in Empyrion. So that's really cool. And there's new celestial objects too, such as black holes and gas giants and stuff like that. Very cool. Station services, we can go next to a station within 300 meters, I believe, and refuel, refit our ship, or repair our ship rather, and all that sort of thing, which is really cool. We have to have coin to pay for it, of course. The scanning system is new. We now have actual active scanners, meaning that, for example, if you're on the planet, you put the scanner in your hand on your toolbar and you actually press a button to scan, which is really cool because that way I think it's just a little more realistic that way. And also scanning works from space too, and you can scan items down on planets while you're in space and see waypoints from space that you've set on a planet, which is very cool. Especially, like, for example, you always in the older versions of this game, you always figured, okay, how in the hell do I get back to my base? And it took you a while to kind of familiarize yourself with the planet itself to know where to go down. So that's going to be really, really handy. Let's see. We have player-built teleporters now, which is cool. Those have been in the game before, but they've always been an admin thing, and now players can actually build them, which is great. New upgraded dialogue system and storyline. Crafting is different. We have new items like titanium, platinum, and aluminum, and ice. Registry for keeping track of all of our waypoints and stuff like that. Some multiplayer changes with some scoreboards and stuff like that. I'm not really much of a I do like to play multiplayer, but I'm not really much of a PvPer, I suppose. And then CPU, there's now an advanced core, which removes all CPU limits, but apparently it's very difficult to get. And then you also get a buff if you don't exceed the CPU tier points. All right, and all kinds of other changes, but those are kind of the main things. Excellent. So I myself have not played Empyrion Experimental, nor have I watched anybody else play it. So this is going to be pretty new to me. Now, I have spent a little bit of time in the game just off camera trying to, check out the new stuff. I went through the tutorial, the Robinson Protocol, just to see what was different with that. Tried the ice planet out a couple of times just to see how brutal it is, and it is brutal. And just to kind of refamiliarize myself with those settings. So I don't know, I've probably spent maybe hour and a half, 2 hours in total on Alpha 12. Again, just off camera, trying to get used to it. So I think we're ready to go ahead and start this series now. Also, for those of you who have been waiting for me to start this series, I'm sorry I'm getting, I'm a couple days late, but I was having some technical issues getting my recordings to work correctly with OBS. I won't get into what all that is, but I think we sorted most of that out, and hopefully, we'll be able to not have those types of problems. Okay, without further ado, let's jump in and get going here. So we're going to start a new single-player game. We're going to call this OG A12. We'll call it OG A12.0, and we'll set that as our game name. We're going to put the seed as my birth date, 1967. That way, if you guys want to actually play along, you can. We're going to set the difficulty settings to hard like we always do. Pretty much always play on hard settings. I'm going to leave everything on the hard settings, And in addition to that, of course, we're going to turn on massive volume and we're going to turn on CPU points. Now, regarding CPU points, that was a huge pain in the butt in Alpha 11. It doesn't explicitly say so in the release notes, or at least the high-level release notes, that they've rebalanced this, but my understanding is that they have. And so hopefully, you know, we had a really hard time getting from tier 2 to tier 3 in my last playthrough on 11.5. And if this, you know, if this turns out to be a huge stopping point, I might end up turning this off just so that we can continue to progress. But we're going to go ahead and start with it and just see how it is and see if we can make it work. A lot of people are of the opinion that the CPU settings are not really feasible for a single player game. I can definitely see why people would see it that way based upon my own experience with it, but let's just give it a try and see how it goes. But I do reserve the right later on in this playthrough to turn it off if I feel like it's just, you know, becoming too much of a pain in the ass. Assuming I even can. There's probably somewhere in the config file I can turn it off. But we'll worry about that later. Otherwise, all of the settings are on the absolute hardest settings that this game has to offer. Okay, so let's click OK to there. And then we're not going to start on the temperate planet. I'm going to set the planet size to large too, because that also increases the difficulty by virtue of the fact that you have more territory you have to cover just to get to your resources. All right, so that's large. Now, we're not going to do temperate and we're not going to do arid because we've done that a million times. Been there, done that, not going to do it again. So the choices really are, do we want to start on the swamp planet or do we want to start on the snow planet? And guys, I think we're going to go with the snow planet just because I did play on the swamp planet for, I don't know, 20 minutes, and it really was not that hard. Whereas this snow planet is brutal. It is absolutely brutal. So let's talk about this just a little bit. Now, those of you who've been watching me, my Empyrion series in the past, you know that we have some experience now with starting on a super cold planet. A couple of different series now, we started on the dead planet in Project Eden, and it is absolutely brutal. So we're going to have a similar type of experience here. And one of the things that, you know, the worst enemy when you're very first starting out on a planet that this cold is not actually the cold, but it's the result of the cold, and that is starvation, right? Your food runs out really quick, and especially because we're playing on the hard settings, right? Food consumption is fast. Temperature has a high impact on the player, so these things make this exceedingly hard. We're going to have to deal with not just temperature, but the result, like I said, the effects of that temperature, which is cold. So we're going to look at their hints here because their hints are actually very, very important. If you don't follow these suggestions, you are going to die on the hardest settings. Okay, so obviously we're going to grab stuff from the escape pod. The heater is our friend. Without the heater, we have no chance whatsoever if we don't have the heater. So what we have to do is we have to keep that with us. We have to set it down at periodic intervals as we move along and make sure that we keep our body temperature above 60 degrees. If it drops below 60 degrees, actually, and this is going to be in Fahrenheit, of course, if it drops below 60 degrees, then you get too cold, and that's when your food consumption starts tanking. So our goal is to not drop below 60 degrees. So once we see our body temperature hit 60 degrees, we have to plop that heater down and stand next to it and warm back up. Really important. Jet pack jumps or bunny hops will conserve stamina. Well, we're not going to be able to actually make use of that in the very beginning of the game because we're not going to even have a jetpack. We're not going to have a suit. That's one of the things that the hard setting does, as it shows right here. So hard, no armor. Okay, and then let's see what else we've got. Mark your food places on the map. Small plants regrow in about a day. Okay, so that's kind of important. It's actually very important because the protein plants that we can use to make the energy bars are very scarce on this planet. So super important. And actually it's good to know that they'll regrow in about a day, though I kind of knew that anyway. Portable constructor we'll use to filter crushed stone. Lower altitudes are much warmer. That is very, very true. So we want to get down as low as possible, probably next to some water, in fact, because it does make a huge difference. And also digging under the ground helps. Now that's important, and that's new because in earlier versions of the game, being underground did not have any effect whatsoever on the temperature. I remember several alphas ago, there used to be a start called Planet Sienna, and it was like this. It was an ice planet, and it was absolutely brutal. And in that, you know, at that time, you could dig all the way down to bedrock and it didn't matter. It was still the same temperature as it was on the surface. So it's nice to know that now we actually have that option of digging underground if we have to, you know, to survive. So we'll probably, you know, even make use of that. Okay. And then of course this tells us that there's a broken hover vessel in the distance. Now, based upon, you know, just my little exposure to this, and I do mean that literally exposure, right? This is really the only way you have a chance, you know, to get a foothold here on this. And you got to get to this HV. You've got to change the cockpit out so that, and replace it with an enclosed cockpit because it has an open cockpit. And then you got to build a generator and a fuel tank for this hover vessel. And once you get to that point, if you can get to that point, then you have a chance to survive. But up until that point, it's touch and go. It really is. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this then. Yeah, so we're gonna head towards this water. We do want to be somewhat close to some trees. In fact, if you look kind of on that, you know, in the middle of that lake, I don't know if you would call that a peninsula or what, but that little stretch of land, there actually isn't snow on the ground. So that's going to be probably the lowest we can get. And so we want to head, you know, for that as close and as quickly as possible. And, you know, stay at the lowest altitude that we can. So let's just aim for that. This is about as high up as I can get the pod to go. Looks like there's a little steam pocket in the lake there. I wonder if that's like a hot springs kind of idea. That was the thing you had to do on that planet Sienna I was talking about, is that you had to get to the hot springs. That was really your only chance of surviving on that planet, was to get to the hot springs. Okay, let's get started here. We're going to grab all of our stuff. We're going to put a couple of things on our toolbar here real quick. We're going to need our scanner, of course, our survival tool and our pistol, and our heater. Let's get this heater down immediately. I mean, it's that important that we see our body temperature dropped to 59 degrees, and we don't want that to happen. It's 6 degrees ambient right outside now, so it is seriously cold already, just even starting out here. All right, so we're standing next to our heater. Let's get these on our toolbar as well, and and the health pack. The rest of the stuff can stay in our inventory for now. Oh, here's another really cool thing. We now have a sorting option. So if we want to sort like alphabetically, or, you know, based upon food, parish time, mass volume, that sort of thing, super useful. In fact, maybe even volume would be the best way to sort that if we do it in descending order. So this is our heaviest item, or no, it's the other way around, right? Yeah, that's 1 kilogram. Yeah, it's the other way around. So we need to go this way. Okay, yeah, super useful. It's something I've been wanting them to do, and a lot of us have been wanting Elion to do for a long time, is let us sort our inventory. I'm very happy about that. It's the little things, right, that make a big difference. Okay, let's get our gun out. Load this sucker up. And the way the scanning works is you equip the scanner and you press the button, and it does the little ping, and then it'll show you off in the distance different points of interest. And if you're further than 300 meters away from that, then you don't know what it is. You just know there's something there. You have to get within 300 meters to figure out what it is. Okay, so what that means to us is it looks like the hover vessel is going to be over somewhere in and amongst those things. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up our portable heater, and we're going to move that direction. We need to find where the hover vessel is. We don't even necessarily need to go to it immediately. We just need to know where it is. But then what we're going to do is we're going to come back here to the lake and actually try and get into that bit of land, you know, that kind of goes across the lake. It's almost like a land bridge where there's no snow, in hopes that, you know, will be a relatively warm place for us to be. Okay, so here we go. The other thing that's really important, guys, is we don't run, we walk. If we sprint, that's going to also drain our food super fast. Now look in the upper right-hand corner, and you'll see it says 14 degrees, but then to the right of that, there is a temperature that it said 68, now it says 64. That is my body temperature. That's the thing that as soon as it hits 60, we need to stop and warm back up. And we have to stand right next to this. Okay, so let's ping again. Okay, we have a resource. A large wreckage. And nothing kind of off to the left is really showing anything yet. So we're going to kind of work towards the resource and the large wreckage and see if we can find where that hover bike is. Okay, our body temperature is 77. Let's pick this up, have it ready to put right back down, and just walk forward. Let's see if we can get within 300 meters of this thing off to the right before we have to stop again. We're also on the lookout for corn dogs, for the little purple lavender looking plants. Those are the two types of plants on this planet that will give us plant protein that we can make energy bars. Okay, we're 60 degrees. We're going to stop and warm up, and let's do another ping while we're waiting. Damaged hover bike. Okay, so we have located that hover bike. Very good. Now, we don't need, like I said, we don't need to go to it immediately. What's this? Oh, you know what? I think that's the teleport station. Very nice. Okay, we don't need to go to the hover bike immediately. What I think we'll do, though, we might as well hit the large wreckage, because I think there's a cargo thing that we can, you know, loot there. We might get some good supplies. What is this? Resource. Okay, that's probably just like a mine, like a copper mine or deposit or something like that. But since the hover bike is here, what we might do is actually, just trying to think, maybe see if we can settle somewhere in this area here, and then when we're ready, we can work our way to the hover bike to start working on it. But I want to get all of the resources and materials we're going to need to do that first before we go to it, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the shore. Actually, no, we'll hit this large wreckage first, then we're going to go back to the shore and just kind of stay low until we get over into this area here, and this is where we'll, you know, basically set up our initial camp. You can see that my food is down to 116 and my health is 150, so it's already super low. We're gonna hold out until it gets into the red, and if we haven't found a protein plant by then we'll have to take our ration, and then that'll be the only food we have until we start finding, you know, protein plants. Let's go ahead and grab copper and iron and silicon as we see it, because we are going to need some of that. I believe we will have silicon down by the water, so we really just need copper and iron for the moment. Okay. Whoa, what the hell's that? What is that? It sounded like some kind of creature was agitated, maybe trying to attack me, but I don't see it. Oh shit, that scared me. Okay. It's like there are alien assassins on this planet, so those are going to be some of our initial very dangerous enemies to have to contend with. Now, the game does tell us in the hints to make the coffee. Well, I call it the coffee. It's actually called the this stuff here, hot beverage. And it, you know, the problem, you know what that sounds like? Is it sounds like the damn scorpion, which is a super dangerous creature in this game, but maybe that's just an ambient noise. Okay, it's a little unnerving though, I'm not gonna lie. Let's grab some of this too in case we get a stomach ache. That'll help with the stomach ache. Now anyway, what I was saying is the hot beverage sucks. It really does, because there's some iron over there. The problem with it is that it doesn't last long enough to hardly be worth it. I mean, literally, you drink it and 10 seconds later, 10, 15 seconds later, you're back down to your body temperature. It needs, for it to be useful at all, it needs to last longer. It really does. It quite literally sucks. I mean, it buys you 15 seconds. I mean, what the hell good does that do? It needs to buy you, you know, maybe a couple of minutes, I would think. But that's not the way it works, so I'm not too impressed with the hot beverage. Nevertheless, when we come close to those plants, we will pick them and take it. And, you know, the effect does stack, which is great, except for the fact that here again, oh, there's some silicon. It doesn't last long enough, you know, so it kind of sucks. For you to get any significant benefit out of it at all, you need to drink a whole bunch of them, you know, and what that'll do is that'll actually overheat you, but then, you know, it buys you a little bit more time, you know, out in the cold. So, but overall, I don't like the way it works. I don't think it's effective enough is what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's put our heater down and we'll just keep getting this iron since it's right here. We're not having to go way out of our way to get it, because we are trying to work our way towards the large wreckage. Okay. And man, I wish we could find a protein plant. They're so hard to find. You know, I'm not sure, but there might actually be seaweed in the lake, now that I think about it. And if there is, that's going to be quite useful. Well, we're not going to have a problem getting copper and iron early on. So by keeping warm and by just walking like we're doing, we're conserving our food consumption. It's still in the yellow. Pretty soon it's going to hit the red, and that's when we're going to have to go ahead and probably take our ration, our emergency ration. And we hit level 2. That's the other reason why we need to be picking these plants, so we can level. Now we can actually make the survival constructor. I'm sorry, the portable constructor, which we'll do. Let's get warmed up, and then we're going to go in and grab whatever's in those lockers, and then we're going to start heading back towards the water, continuing to look for protein plants. If we could make a couple of protein bars before we hit the red, and save our emergency ration, that will help quite a bit. Okay, this is not really useful to us at all, at least not in a survival sense. There's a couple of components in there that we could probably make use of at some point, but right now not too terribly helpful. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to work our way back, like I said, towards the water. But we might kind of go around this way and maybe just take a look at the hover bike, not that we necessarily need to, but we ultimately want to get back down to the water where it's going to be low before nightfall hits. And along the way, we're going to be looking for protein plants. Okay, let's do another ping too, by the way. So let's see, hover vessels that way. Just trying to see what else. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else real significant. The other thing too is the corn dogs are kind of hard to see because they're covered in snow, so you really have to look. And sometimes you'll see the little purple violet plant thingamadoodles, and those will work too. Lilacs, I guess, is kind of what they remind me of. So let's just walk. We'll set our heater down here and grab this. I'm not going to worry about grabbing stone for now because we'll probably end up burrowing in the ground for overnight anyway, and we'll get plenty of stone doing that. So let's just move towards the hover bike. Okay, we found corn dogs. Beautiful. Finally found some. These, if you guys are new to Empyrion and you haven't played older versions, these in fact actually used to be called corn dogs. It was a placeholder thing that they did for, oh, you know what? The other thing we should be doing is we should go ahead and learn the portable constructor now and get that queued up so it's ready to go when we get to our location. And ultimately we'll end up making several of those. And I probably should make a few hot beverages too now that we have the ingredients. But let's keep working towards the hover bike. Oh shit, oh shit, shit. We waited a little too long. Yeah, that's not good. We can't afford to do that. I mean, not even for a second, because, I don't know, look at our food now, it's in the red. But we have one of these. So this will get us back out of the red for a little while, and we can continue to save our emergency ration. There's a stimulant plant. That gives us stamina, but we don't really need stamina so much right now. That's not the most important thing. Okay, so there's the hover vessel there. So basically what this thing needs is, let's get a little closer here. It needs a generator and a fuel tank. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the lake, because it's getting on in the day and it gets colder at night. So we're going to go to the lake, we're going to set up a little base, and then we're going to get all the materials that we need to make these two things, and also make a closed cockpit. And one of the things we can do before we leave here, now that I think about it, is we can actually go ahead and disassemble this cockpit, and it'll actually give us some materials that we can use to help go towards the new cockpit. Okay, good. So we got some electronics, some glass plates, and some mechanical components out of that deal. So not bad at all, not bad at all. All right, let's go ahead and get back towards the water now. Let me check my bearings. Okay, so we actually need to go, let's head towards this point here. So I'm going to put a waypoint, just a move on approach waypoint, so we know where to go. All right, let's pick this up. Are we at 77 degrees? We are. It's 19 degrees outside. That's pretty damn warm for this place. It's not going to stay that way, though. It's not going to stay that way. Okay, let's move towards our waypoint. We'll continue to look for any type of protein-based plant. Corn dogs or the lilacs-looking thingamadoodles. Mushrooms are pretty much worthless. We're not going to mess with those. Plus, they have a high chance of making us sick, which we don't want to have happen. All right, let's grab some stimulant because we can, and we'll get XP for it. It's 26 out. Okay, that's super warm for this place. Very warm. Nice. Continue doing that for us, Gabe, until we get to our destination, please. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. We have this now. Let's just queue up some of those, and I don't want to make another portable constructor yet because I want to make sure we have enough material to make the 3 items we need for the hover bike first. Let's take a look at something here too. So notice we're kind of up on the plains here, and it's 8 degrees Fahrenheit right here. But as we go down lower towards the water, the temperature should get higher. See, now it's 32 degrees, 35 degrees right here. See, this is a nice little warm pocket here, my word. Remember too, when you start on the hard settings like we're doing, you don't have any protection from your suit. If we had like even a light armor suit on, that would give us some protection from the elements, but we don't have that. We're just in our clothes basically. Okay, so yeah, that demonstrates how significant staying down low actually is in terms of staying warm. Now, yeah, it's a balmy 35 degrees right here. Check that out. Okay, so let's take a look at our map here. We could base here, but I kind of want to get over here because I think we're going to find more resources over in this area. But let's go ahead and stay close to the water from here on out. We'll just kind of walk around the edge of the water here. Our temperature's good. It's a balmy 35 degrees. Let's just go around this way. I don't think getting wet in Empyrion matters like it does in some other games, you know, like 7 Days to Die and Ark and some of the other survival games that I play. But the water itself, you know, could be cold. Okay, we need to get somewhere where we can actually set this down. Okay, we're in the red for the food. Let's hold out just a little bit longer before we take that ration and see if we can find another corn dog. Okay, there's some oviraptors. Oh, corn dogs, beautiful. Exactly what we needed. There's an oviraptor over there. They are neutral, though. They won't harass us if we don't harass them. However, they could be a source of food for us later on. Just don't tell them I said that. The other thing, remember too, we're on the hard setting, so it takes a lot longer to craft everything, and that makes it that much harder, of course. The one downside to where we're going is there's a higher probability we're going to run into an assassin. So if that happens, I mean, we have enough ammo in our pistol to take one out, assuming he doesn't take us out first. But after that, we're going to have to make more ammo and a better... Oh, look, there's seaweed. Oh, my goodness. Okay, that's huge. That is huge. Here's what we're going to do then. Let's go grab that seaweed because we can make another bar. And let's eat this one right now. Oh, did I just eat it? No, I didn't. It's right here. We'll put that in 5. Let's eat that now. And that gets us back up into the yellow. And we'll just wait for our body temperature to hit 77. And then we're going to go after that seaweed. It's good to know that there is seaweed in the water because now we actually have a food source. So, okay, we're at 77. Now let's just... We don't want to sprint swim. Let's grab that. And oh yeah, oxygen. Yeah. Air's kind of important too. Air's kind of important too. Oh, nice. So where... Oh, that only gave us 1. Crap. Okay, we need 2 to make a thing. All right, well, we got 1 anyway. I don't see anything else really close to the shore. And like, you know, because we don't have any way to breathe underwater, we probably better just stick to stuff that's really close to the shore. So let's just keep working our way over this way. You know, they did say bunny hops would conserve energy. Does this, if I just hop like that, because gravity's pretty light on this planet, that does allow us to move a little faster, and I don't think it's exerting more energy. You would think it would, though, because we're jumping, but maybe not. Whoa, shit, what's that noise? Oh, there's one of them slime things. Okay. See, we could kill him for meat. Let's not do that yet, though. Let's get to our destination. We're almost there. We're basically just going to come down here and then kind of stay in this area near the water. So we're just about there. So that's good to know, because we can hunt him for meat. We can hunt the oviraptors once we have a little bit better firepower, because they will turn on us. In fact, so will the slime, but I think he's a little bit easier to kill. But, you know, the other consideration is I can't afford to expend the energy to sprint or run away from something that's attacking us either, so that's a factor. It's starting to get dark, too, so that's another consideration. It will get colder at night, so we need to be at wherever our base location is going to be by the time it gets all the way to night. I'm just trying to see. Okay, corn dogs. Let's go. Let's get over there. Okay, so we can make another one of these. Let's do that now and get our food back into the yellow. As you can see, guys, like I said, it is touch and go, man. It is really touch and go on these settings. I think we have an adequate amount of ore to get started here, so let's put that back down for a minute and take a look at where we're at. Okay, so we basically just want to go, we want to go this way. So let's set a new waypoint just so we continue going in the right direction. Sincerely hope we don't run into an assassin. We don't want that right now. We did load our gun, right? Yeah, it's loaded. Okay. That would not be good. That would not be good at all. Is that an iron or a stone? I think that's just a stone. Right? Yeah. Okay. That's just the slime, right? Please tell me that's just the slime and not something meaner. Oh yeah, he's right there on the rock. He's like camouflage. I couldn't hardly even see him. Okay. Whew, that sent some shivers up my spine. Look at that red conifer. That's kind of cool looking. All right, I wonder, maybe this is where we should go ahead and set up camp, guys, right here. I don't want to get too terribly far away from the hover bike because we are going to have to walk back there. Or, actually, you know what? We could make a motorcycle to get back there, assuming we have enough resources to do so. All right, it's 33 degrees right here. There's some spice. We might as well pick it because we can use that for stomach aches too. And it looks like there's probably some seaweed not too terribly far offshore. And I wonder what if those vents over there, the steam coming out of the water, if that would actually provide warmth. Something to think about for sure. All right, well, guys, I think we are at our initial destination here. And it is nice and warm right down by the water here. Nice and warm, and it is now also officially nighttime too. So we have trees nearby. I want to do one last thing before I let you guys go for this episode. I want to just burrow underground for a second and see if it's even a little bit warmer doing that. Okay, so let's just check that out really quick. Make sure we're on resource drill. Let's actually burrow into like the hillside, so maybe right over here. The other advantage to doing this, other than it will provide us a degree of protection, is that we'll get stone too, and we need stone for resources. Okay, so it seems to be 23 degrees Fahrenheit at that depth. So if we have our heater, is that enough to get our body temperature up to 77? Yes, it is. Okay, good. So I think it was actually a little bit warmer by the water. But like I said, down in here we have some protection. So if an alien assassin does happen to come by, man, we're down in our hidey hole here. We're going to be a little bit safer. So I think we'll probably go ahead and set up our base here. And I'm gonna go ahead and mine this out a little bit more so we have a little more room. We'll put down the constructor. The first 3 components we're going to make is an enclosed cockpit, a generator, and a fuel tank for that hover vessel. And then if we have enough resources left over after that, we'll make a motorcycle so that we can get back to that hover vessel much more quickly. But guys, that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And yeah, this is going to be fun. It's definitely challenging, but I think we've done well so far. We haven't died yet. We might have to go ahead and take our ration though, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. All right, we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye bye.